Hi guys, this is Gizmo and I'm talking to you right now from my workshop. And if you didn't know, I'm a crafter. I like to build stuff. That's why my character is named Gizmo Props actually. It's because I like to make gizmos and props. But right now, all of my projects have slowed down to a crawl or completely stopped directly or indirectly because of the pandemic that's going on. And I thought, you know what, let's make something different and make a little rant video for a change so that at least I have one thing to do. So, in one of my projects, I had to assemble 3D printed pieces made from ASA plastic. And I found out that in order to do that very strongly, to have a good bond between the pieces, instead of using glue, I could use acetone. I would paint it on the side of the piece, then the plastic would start to melt. You could put the two pieces together and wait for the acetone to evaporate, and then the plastic solidifies like it was always meant to be one piece. That's great, except for having to deal with the extremely flawed design of acetone bottles.
So, acetone is a toxic, flammable product that can damage plastic by melting it and can damage wood varnishes and cause other sorts of damage to other sort of things. You shouldn't have it splash in your eye or mouth, and generally I'm pretty sure it's not corrosive, but you should keep it away from your skin. So considering how dangerous acetone is, it's important to have a good bottle design that can be poured very precisely and without splashing. So this is obviously an acetone bottle, except it's not. That's what an acetone bottle would look like if someone asked me to design one. Strangely enough, I'm not a product designer, so I guess they didn't ask my help. The way I would have done it is it with a cap that screws inside of the neck. That way you can put a spout in the front of the neck. This way you can very carefully pour liquid out into small containers without any problems. But that's just my design, and obviously nobody asked me. What a real acetone bottle is like is more like this. As you can see, the cap is screwed on the outside of the neck and there is no spout. What does this mean? Well, it means that the flow coming out of the bottle is going to be a lot bigger. But that's not that much of a problem yet, right? I mean, that is pretty much the same as a juice bottle, and since we're able to just bring the cup closer to the neck, we are able to pour ourselves glasses of juice without spraying juice everywhere in the kitchen. So why am I complaining so much? Well, actually that's not an acetone bottle at all. A real acetone bottle is more like this. You see the difference here between this and this? The neck is a lot further into the bottle. This means there's a flat area here in front. What does this mean when you pour then? Well, it's going to do pretty much this. The liquid will hit the front of the bottle and start spreading out. Now, one thing you need to know about acetone is that it's extremely fast at spreading sideways on a surface. Like, if you drop it on the table, it's going to spread across the table almost as fast as it would fall down in the air. So what you get is, well, first it's going to spread out and fan out, and it's going to fall like a curtain across a much wider, much harder to control area. And part of it, because it's touching the bottle, is going to stick to the bottle on the side because of surface tension. And like I said, it likes to spread out a lot. So it's spreading on the front of the bottle and it starts to leak on the bottom, which is extremely problematic. Also, it splashes. But that's not actually what acetone bottles look like. No, it's much worse in reality. No, in reality it's more like this. You see this? There's a lip going around the top of the bottle. The top of the bottle that the liquid will touch when you pour. You see where I'm going with this? Yeah. A real acetone bottle does this. It pours out, it pulls up here in front, and then it starts splashing tiny droplets into the air around in the area from the liquid coming out of the neck and into the pool. Then it's spreading beyond this round surface outside. The fanning out is worse, and it's reaching a very hard to control, completely stupidly large splashing area, and a lot of it is going to stick to the bottom and start flowing down. Almost as much will flow from under the bottle than from the flow itself. It is absolutely catastrophic. But that's not what an actual acetone bottle looks like. No, it's still worse, because a real acetone bottle is actually a rectangle. What does that mean? Well, now you've got this thing happening where the liquid first pulls up and starts splashing, but it's a flat wall and it's pushed in both directions, which means that it's going to pull faster in the corner than the front, and you end up with two different flows coming out of the same bottle. And that's spreading the area of splash even more, and you still got the problem of the liquid sticking to the front with surface tension and flowing from the bottom. But that's not what would happen with a square bottle like this, because you've got speed in the liquid going from side to side here. So that speed will influence the direction at which the flow will start pouring. It's actually going to look more like this, where the speed sideways will help this fluid flows in 245-degree angle. Now it looks like the bottle is trying to make a magic trick where it pisses in two different urinals at once, and it's not exactly on point. It's still practicing it in order to stop pissing all over itself too, which it clearly still does. Oh yes, I'm very looking forward for this magic trick to be on point. But that's not what an actual acetone bottles look like. No, it's not. It's even worse than that. Because, and as you probably know if you've seen one in real life, the real one looks actually like this. It's got rounded corners. This means you've got all of the previous problems, except this time, like when I had the bottle round, you have a round surface to spread out the flows even wider in a fan shape, and because the corners are round, it's even easier for the acetone that sticks to the front and the side where it flows to go almost all the way. Actually, it does go all the way around. I was pouring, holding the bottle from here in the back, and I got wet. My hand got wet. What does it look like when you pour something like this? It looks like this. Oh my god. What kind of mad person would think this is an legit product? What kind of stupid companies would accept to market something like this? The liquid spreads out sideways, it splashes, it makes 245-degree angle jet, fanned out very wide. The liquid sticking to it reach all the way to the bottom, wets your hand with toxic product, and it's pissing from all around the bottom. It splashes everywhere, and when there's enough of it in the front, it starts to going off from there too. It actually does this. I tried to pour it holding a cup right next to the neck, and yet somehow I almost got none in it. Everything splashed everywhere. I was responsible. I had a metal tray underneath to make sure I wouldn't splash anything underneath. And the 245-degree flows spread out so far that it missed that tray entirely on both sides. It's a miracle I didn't get any on the floor of my brand new apartment, and it's a great miracle that the table I was using was already messed up from being used as a workbench. So yeah, this is a disaster. And don't tell me you can buy a spout separately, because it's not included. It should be included. If the bottle is this bad to pour, you should have an included separate spout, like the straw on a Capri Sun bag. But you don't, and it's not even indicated on the packaging to make you know that you should look for one before you leave the hardware store. Who hurt you? Whoever designed this, who hurt you bad enough to make a bottle that's this bad to use? I wouldn't even know how to make this worse. Like what? You're going to hide a small explosive in it that's going to tear the bottle to shred when you first open it, covering everything in the room evenly, maybe even taking the customer's hands clean off as a bonus? Whoever did this, you're a bad person.